guys hear me?
Yep, clear as day.
Word.
And Mark's hopping on right now too. Mark, we can't see you, homie.
Okay, hang on.
So yes, sir. Where's this guy at? 72-year-old Sage.
Good. The Goodest?
The Goodest. Isn't the good? Yeah, the good. He's got to be in his 70s by now, right?
Romo Lover 9 will not be with us today. I still haven't created that Instagram page for him yet, but I need to. I looked it up. Nobody else has it.
Definitely have to, and then all kinds of joke pictures.
That and just touch it.
Yeah.
There you go. Mark, you're in there. You're in there twice now, homie.
Double the trouble, double the fun.
I'm saying, man, it's like it's Michael Keaton multiplicity action going on right now.
I can't see his video though.
No, I can't see his video either.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. I just did a Zoom call like a week ago.
Oh damn! Tech support.
One, Mark.
All right, you're back down to one screen, so that's a step in the right direction. Are you on a phone or a computer?
I'm on an iPad.
So it should be similar the same as a phone. If you touch it,
hit the camera looking thing that says start video or share video.
And don't say anything bad about Apple with the sound in the room.
Oh, I'm gonna have a field day with this one. While Mark is doing that, so Brian, this is there he is.
There you go.
Yes, there we go.
There he is. So
I'm not that old.
I was starting to wonder, man. I was so quick introduction. So guys, Joel and Mark just met briefly just now. So Brian, this is my buddy Mark. We met in Las Vegas in 2014.
What's the fight you went to go see that week?
That was the Mayweather-Andre Berto fight. Remember that, Mark?
Yeah, I think that was actually September of 2015 because that was after Pacquiao. That was supposed to be his last hurrah.
Already fact checking you.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, he's right. He's absolutely right. And
I like this guy.
And I mentioned to I defer to the master in the space. But so Mark, I told a quick story. The way we met is actually because of my now ex-wife Heather met with your wife in Vegas, and they kind of clicked up. I forgot where they met, playing slots or something like that. Ended up coming, and I actually was standing next to you. You were watching the weigh-in for the Mayweather and Berto fight. I was standing next to you, but I didn't realize that was your wife. And then next thing you know, we kind of
not that kind of podcast, homie.
Sounds juicy.
Yeah.
So yeah, we met from there, and man, it was a great weekend. We had fun, and we've stayed in touch ever since. So I appreciate you coming on, man. I know we've been trying to set this up for a while, but obviously with the pandemic and all this crazy stuff going on, all of us have been going in a million directions.
Absolutely.
So I appreciate you taking the time. And just real quick, how involved? I know you had a lot going on too. How involved have you been with boxing in general lately?
Are we recording yet?
Oh yeah.
Oh okay.
Well, it's hard to say. Let me jump back real quickly to about a year ago to the main websites that I was helping. One for reporting, and the other one for like attending fights and credentials and things like that. I was helping a website called Seconds Out, which is based in England. Mm-hmm. And I had been with them for about a dozen years. Well, the editor-in-chief stepped down, and then the guy who took his place decided that he wanted to focus mainly on British boxing, and he turned out to be the worst communicator in the world. Mm-hmm. So I left, and then boxing.com, they pulled the plug, I think last December. The owner sold it. And so I just kind of floated around for a while, and I've been a little bit more of a hired gun. There's been articles, fight reports, interviews that I've done. I did a series when the pandemic first broke out around March, April, called the Quarantine Chronicles, where I was catching up with guys, mostly
nice.
fighters that you've heard of, and the highest level guy that I spoke to was Jamel Herring, who I've actually known him for several years now, since actually before he went to the Olympics.
Okay.
But as far as in person, it was last year, because as you know, there's not a whole lot of action in January, February, and then saying last year at this point in time doesn't really mean a whole lot, because we've been in the freezer since. Yeah, and so, but I've kept an eye on it. But by and large, I've been on a hiatus maybe for about a month and a quarter now.
Cool, man. Very, very interesting.
So it's nice to recharge every once in a while as well. So like the pandemic's really, it sucked for sports, it sucked for everything else, but a little bit of reflection and some pause time's never a bad thing.
Certainly.
But how? Just before we go any further, how is the family, man?
Oh, mine. Thank you. My two boys, they're now 13 and 16.
Do they box?
No, they exercise, but they don't. And when I inform them, you get hit too.
Absolutely.
They were like, oh, but my 16-year-old is about 6'3.5", and my younger one's about 5'11". They went back to school, as far as actually going back to school, about 2 weeks ago. And so everybody's well. And how about yourself, your son? How's yours?
Well, I mean, I can't complain, man. I'm right now in my new place. I guess my bachelor pad, I guess I can call it.
Midtown, baby.
So I'm no longer.
It's a nice spot.
I'm no longer married, but me and Heather still have a really good relationship. We talk every day. Share custody, all that good stuff. So everything's good, man. I can't complain. I've been working for the most part the entire time, except for maybe a week or two during the pandemic. I switched jobs in there a little bit, but overall, man, can't complain. Everything's I've been very blessed. So thank you.
That's good.
Where are we talking to you from?
I'm in Austin, Texas.
In Austin, Texas. I see. I've only been to Dallas. Getz loves Austin.
I love Austin.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's a great place.
How far are you from the Salt Lake barbecue?
The one in Driftwood, which is the original one, where they'll just keep bringing you food till you die. That's probably about 30 minutes away.
So we're coming to visit is what I'm saying.
Yeah. There's other locations, but that's the main one, like the one you've seen in commercials.
Yeah, I'm very, very, very interested in that place. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's great.
Only been the funny thing is that you're talking about Texas. Both of us about a year ago, and guess to remember this, there was serious talk about relocating, leaving Florida and actually going, going to other spots. The COVID hit, and other stuff happened, and neither one of us is going to be going anywhere, at least for the time being. But
please tell me you're not a Cowboys fan.
I'm a Green Bay Packer fan.
I'll allow it.
Okay.
No, Jesus, you can waterboard me, and I'll cheer for Hounds of Hell before I cheer for the Cowboys. No way.
Good answer.
Wow.
Good answer.
You earned an extra cool point right there. But this is so we brought you on here to talk about boxing. We can catch up later on for sure. But boxing's back. This guy calls me a few days ago, maybe like a week ago, and he goes, boxing's finally starting to wake up again. He's like, I linked up with Marc. We got the first fight coming up this weekend. Lomachenko, who's he fighting against this weekend?
So we've got Vasily Lomachenko and Teofimo Lopez coming up this weekend on Saturday.
Who?
And Marc, I don't know about you, but there's been some other fights that I've caught here recently, but to me, I was never that excited about too many of them, really. This is the first fight I would say that I've been excited for in quite a while. What say you?
This, as you say, my friend, is boxing must-see. And interestingly enough, when was the last time that you were interested in a fight this big when the combined records of the two guys, I think, are 30 fights total?
And they've been touting it, and I watch boxing, but I'm nowhere on the level of you two guys here. Right? So I mean, if you went to basketball and other sports, I've got more of a grasp on, but I'm more I wouldn't even call myself a fringe fan. I'm just not the scientist to break down the sweet science. But everyone is touting Lomachenko as this year or now's version of best pound for pound fighter. You know, they've given that to Mayweather in years past and that sort. Do you agree with that? You called him must-see boxing. You called him must-see fighting already, but is he the best out there right now, pound for pound?
He's certainly up there, and he's been in the discussion for a handful of years now. You have to say he's up there, I suppose, with maybe Canelo and Bud Crawford. He's an exceptional talent, and with that extensive amateur background he had of, I think, almost 400 fights.
400 fights.
Double gold medal in 2008 and 2012, the Olympics. And I'm sure you've seen, like, as he's grown in popularity and ESPN latched onto him, and they profile his training mechanisms. I mean, the stuff that he does, just the mental acuity, not just the hand-eye coordination, but the stuff underwater, the holding the breath, the touching of the light pads and all that kind of thing. And when he gets out there, his footwork, he's just like he's on ice skates. You talk about, you said basketball, that killer crossover. I still say Tim Hardaway is the best to ever do it.
Oh no, don't do it.
Okay, AI.
I hate the Heat. That's what
Iverson.
I'm good.
No,
I'm
no,
fine.
no.
They lost.
Iverson is the way to go.
No,
Senior.
he's right with
Hardaway
the
Senior.
crossover. Yeah.
Tim Hardaway Sr. of Run TMC, Golden State. When you talk about putting guys on skates, Loma operates that way. He's so smooth. He's effortless. And the way that he is able to switch, because he's primarily a southpaw, and you've seen him, and you often ask yourself, is this an insult to the other fighter? Are you so not worth my time that I'm going to fight orthodox just to get the reps in?
Yeah, playing with him.
So let me jump in real quick, Mark, because you're talking about footwork. That's what I want to jump in, because I believe that's going to be the difference in the fight. Because Teofimo, I like the kid. He's got great power. I think his power is actually legit, and I think that Lomachenko will have to be aware of that, and I'm sure he is aware of it.
Has he been hit though? Has Lomachenko ever been hit to be tested?
Oh yeah. No, he's been hit. He's been dropped. He's been hit.
Does this guy have any chance of beating Lomachenko? Honestly.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm getting.
Now, I get where he's coming from. Is this a puncher's chance, or is it an actual real chance that if it goes into later rounds that he has a chance of winning? Or does he have to knock him out?
He has to either knock him out or just starch him for maybe 8 of the 12 and land some of the big shots that he's able to do, because he doesn't screw around. And he is a heavy hitter. He is, I think, about 9 years younger as well.
And he's
I'm not entirely sure about reach. Yeah. I saw him up close February of last year there when the rematch between Kovalev with the big Colombian guy that beat him. I'm sorry, his name escapes me. I think it's Alvarez.
I think it was Alvarez. Yeah, Alvarez. Yeah.
Teofimo was on the undercard, and he beat the crap out of, I think, Diego Magdaleno. And Richard Comey had come up with the IBF light title on the undercard. And I wanted to tell him, take that belt home and make a nice 3D copy of it so you can remember having it, because you're not going to hold on to it very long. Because somebody's going to take it from you. But that arena up there in Frisco is like the new Cowboys World Headquarters. And I did get a picture, because there's a full-size Cowboys field out in front of it. And I did stand on the star in my Packer shirt and do the TO, which was really cool.
Yes.
Complete disrespect. That's beautiful.
Yes, we like it.
So, but anyway, Teofimo doesn't screw around, and but I think as the fight wears on, and I could be wrong here. It's hard to really see Lomachenko getting stopped or even getting battered to a certain degree. I think that he's just too good. I mean, when I met his son, we knew that Andre Berto didn't have a chance. But in the past, whoever was fighting Floyd Mayweather, I would just say he's too good. And I kind of feel that way about Lomachenko. And it has nothing to do with my ancestry being from the same area of the world as him. It's I just think he's too good.
I didn't think so.
I feel you're saying. So in essence, he's got to knock him out. He's got to get the lucky punch in. At least sit him down.
Not only that, but I think that I mean, I wish this is one of those fights that for me personally, I'm just kind of like, because I would love to go to it. And as fun as it is, as much of a privilege it is to sit in press row and do all that stuff, being alive is a lot cooler, and staying alive. But I almost think that because of the compact nature of the bubble over there at the MGM Grand, that let's just say if Corona didn't happen or if things were back to normal now, what do you think? Do you think this fight would probably actually be in Madison Square Garden instead? Because of Eastern Europe versus a guy from the Bronx?
Probably so. I could see them doing that. I could even see Barclays Center, to be honest with you.
Right.
That for sure.
Are they going to have fans?
It would have been a huge event. No, it's in a bubble.
No.
It's I think they're running it pretty similar to the UFC, where it's just the trainers and the fighters in there. Everybody's getting tested 2-3 times a day.
That does take away from it a little bit for me, I'll be honest, in terms of going into a fight this big, because Mark, I know you felt it way more often than I have, but when I've been at fights that are pretty big fights, like I remember I was at when I was at Mayweather and Cotto. When we actually went to that fight, that was an amazing atmosphere, just being in the building when that was happening. And I know that you know what that means to a much higher level than me. So you can imagine that if you were at this fight, you can imagine that atmosphere swelling up pretty big. I agree with you. I think at the end of the day that Lomachenko is going to win the fight. I don't know if he stops Teofimo, but I think that by the time that the 12th round is over, I think that it's a pretty decent domination of the guy. What say you as the final result?
Well, just by that time, you're saying you will see the difference in talent.
Yes.
Kind of like when the sacrificial lambs play Alabama the first game of the year. They hang with them for the first few series, but then you see the difference.
Absolutely.
No, I think he gets a convincing unanimous unanimous but it's going to be but
entertaining though, right? They both throw hands.
Yes, not a snore fest, and not a walkover like you've seen with Lomachenko with so many other guys.
Yep.
Now, is this the first fight in the boxing bubble?
No.
It's the first one of a big stature.
This big a stature.
It's the first one of this magnitude. Yeah.
Mega fight.
They've had a bunch of fights as far as UFC fights in the bubble. Yes, have the fighters said anything different about, once the fight starts, they don't really see or feel a difference, or do they miss the crowd?
A lot of them say they like it because they can hear the coaches better. Mm-hmm. A lot of them, they'll give the standard, I like to feed off the crowd. But honestly, I think that's bullshit. Like, once you get in there and someone's throwing punches at you, you ain't thinking about the crowd or listening to the crowd. You're just defending yourself. And it's whose ever skill level is where it needs to be. The crowd doesn't affect the outcome.
No, but the crowd can give some people lemon booty, though. So they get in there and they got 50,000 people looking at them, whatever, they may freeze up. So there's a bit of a difference in that. I think, not to keep bringing basketball up here, but I've said it on this podcast before that I feel that the Heat had to actually go on the road and play in front of hostile crowds, that they wouldn't have run through the playoffs like they did.
Always comes back to the Heat, even on a boxing show.
Even before ending getting, finally stopped by LA. So there is a bit of a difference. Now, once you get in, you get hit a couple of times, you probably zone in a bit and you forget that there's no crowd out there anymore.
Right. And one of the things my coaches would tell me, because we would occasionally have, family members and stuff come in, or if we had these crosstown type of matchups, is don't listen, because that is another one of your senses that you're going to need.
Hell yeah.
You take away from that and you start taking away from the other things. Mm-hmm. And you need to have all your wits about you when you're doing it, because it's not what kills you, man, is the stress.
Sounds like you're talking about life.
the the headaches, the guesswork. You're thirsty, you're dehydrated, you're worlds away, and but I kind of like it from a fan's point of view on TV. It has more of that just warehouse feel to it.
Hell yeah.
Well, it's just them and the lights. I dig it.
Yep, me too.
And you don't see a bunch of celebrities sitting ringside who have no. I almost dropped a. I don't.
Go right ahead, dude.
Let it fly, man.
Celebrities on the sideline with no fucking clue.
Being
There
there,
Fuck them.
and can't tell you a mouth guard from a crossing guard, and it just. But that's
frustrating.
That's the nature of it, and it gets that way in media. When Mayweather Pacquiao came around, normally it was a cinch getting in as far as media goes, but then everybody decided they were a boxing fan. And I have cats sitting next to me from Wall Street Journal and Business This and USA. I mean, just crazy. And
That get in with the media pass, that's a slick move.
yeah, well, because a lot of those bigger publications will throw forward a lot of money, and it makes it harder for the shorter in the tooth guys like me.
I remember us trying to buy tickets to one of the fights in Vegas. Like me and my buddy were just out there during a weekend where there was a fight, and we were just going to go try to buy tickets in the street somewhere. And it was like a game of going to this guy, to this guy, to this guy, because it was just people paying for big lots of tickets ahead of time. So the average fan, most of the time, you can't just get into one of those fights.
It's like the Super Bowl.
So it's very difficult. So it
No,
becomes
and then-
frustrating as a fan.
And then it works the opposite as maybe another game that you want to go to where nothing is left, and football, baseball, basketball, hockey, whatever, where nothing is left but the nosebleeds. Well, those big fights in Vegas, the nosebleeds are the ones that go when they're $1,000 a pop.
Yeah, they go
So
quick, right?
Yeah, because and then you got to look at stuff face value. I would want to shine a light in your eye if you paid $5,000 for a ticket.
Right.
And
Right.
but yeah, it's like that. That's why it's so cool when they put big fights in places like Cowboy Stadium, or if you ever wonder why a lot of these big fights are in Vegas, it's because the bigger the fight is, you have to pay a site fee to host it. So when you have something like Mayweather, Pacquiao, whatever, and MGM, for example, pays 30 to 40 million to host it, they know that they can make it back on the gaming, on the casinos.
Absolutely.
And part of the tickets. And then because the pay-per-view model, usually the cable companies get so much of it, and then a little bit goes to the actual networks, and then the fighters can sometimes get a kickback from it. Anyway, I don't mean to jump so far off topic.
No.
I mean,
Actually, that topic we can find. I know that we may not be in actual order here, but you were just talking about the pay-per-view numbers, and it was a fight. You said you were going to bring it up a little bit. We'll just talk about it right now, quick.
Yeah.
Tyson and Roy, that was supposed to happen in September, and from what I heard, it was the pay-per-view money that they couldn't agree on that pushed it back to November. Then heard it wasn't happening at all. Then Roy goes on Joe Rogan. Are they going to fight? Are they not fighting? Have you heard anything about it? No,
that is one of those outer limits things that I'm not so in touch with. I get not daily stuff, but frequent stuff from Golden Boy, from Top Rank, from Star Boxing, and some of the other companies. But whomever was going to handle this, I'm not entirely sure. And so I'm sure that the moment that I know, so will you, and so will everyone.
Sure.
Nice.
But the last thing I heard was that Roy was somebody got to him and was like, "Hey, you shouldn't be doing this.
He shouldn't be doing it."
No,
you look like you get hurt pretty bad.
I mean,
Yo, Roy's got a
he's
short
lucky.
fuse these days.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's maybe a little bit more risk than he should be taking. So, Mark, let me segue into the next big fight, which is a little bit later on this year. It's actually on Halloween. Correct me if on the date. I believe it is.
Hold on.
Yeah.
While we're on Tyson, I have a question for the expert.
Yep.
All right. So first of all, I don't know if you noticed, but since we're doing CrackBacks Combat, we're on a boxing issue. I got my robe on. Do have to let you guys know I'm not wearing pants though. So Tyson, this fight with Roy Jones, This fight with Roy Jones was more of like a novelty item. You know, they're both old. They're both, you know, aging superstars. It was more for the money, and, you know, it would be good for a spectacle for us to see. Tyson, I wanted to ask you, so he's always had troubles with longer fighters. George Foreman made a comeback at 45, 46, won the heavyweight belt. Would Tyson have any chance this day with, you know, big 6'7", 6'8", 6'9" heavyweight champions? Would he have any chance to win the belt if he actually tried to make it a real comeback?
Okay, we're not talking about these mythical matchup things, right? You're not talking about Tyson from like 1986 and all
No,
that?
I'm talking about right now.
now.
If he tried to come back and was like, yo, I'm making a run at it, would he have any chance?
Against
You know, if it's
Fury,
Wilder, Fury.
Joshua?
Yeah.
Yeah, because they're, you know, he always had trouble with the
Ruiz.
big, longer dudes. Lennox Lewis, you know, he couldn't even touch him barely. At this point, would he have any realistic chance of beating any of them guys?
To be fair, no, I don't think so.
Mm-hmm.
Not an upper echelon boss. He could probably knock out
No.
a Frank Bruno level guy again, but
Yeah, I mean, you want to believe that he could, because he was just that polarizing.
yeah.
The way that
He's exciting.
are we all give or take the same age? I don't know.
They're about
Yeah, mid 40s.
I'm probably much older than everyone here.
Okay, I'm 46. So
Yeah, we're all in the same range.
okay, so you remember the feeling of a Tyson fight night, and
Hell yeah.
and you knew that it might take him longer to walk to the ring than it
Yeah.
took him to dispose of whoever it was.
Hmm.
And you want to believe that the nostalgia, like when Jordan came back and played for the Wizards, you wanted to think, oh, it's going to end in June. You want to believe that he can do that, that being the 5'11" on a good day, that he could just ram his head into the middle of the chest.
Yeah,
Get
man.
him with-
Do that little spin move, hook off
Get
on him.
get him with the bolo punch, give him the double and the uppercut, and have his
Yes.
head flipping around, like he did to Frank Bruno the first time. And no, it would be cool to see. I miss him. I miss the polarization that he gave us, and then he just he kind of self imploded. But we still watched.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
When
he was a special athlete.
when he fought
Special athlete.
Danny Williams, Kevin McBride.
Oh, that was hard to watch for me, man.
Who was that? Who was that chump white dude from Boston?
That was
I
Kevin
can't-
McBride.
I can't remember
Yeah.
his name.
That was hard.
No, the other
McBride.
one that was like, I'm from Brockton, Mass.
Even
did, like, the rhyme.
Even before that, though, we watched.
Oh,
some
the
of
one
the
that
friends
rhymed. Are
both
you
a
talking
fight.
about McNeely?
Yeah,
His
yeah,
first
Peter
fight out of
McNeely.
jail.
Oh,
Yes.
His first fight out of his visit to the Indiana Youth Center.
Yeah.
That was because he brought the paper up to the podium and unfold, this Saturday night in Vegas, and he did this whole spiel.
Wow.
And schmoes like us paid $50. I actually went to a bar, but I know it set it did really, really well, just because people wanted to see him again.
Tyson, yeah, just wanted to see
Yeah.
Tyson. You get all nostalgic. Everybody talks about, oh, well, you couldn't knock him out in the video game, and then
Right.
Nate Berbick.
Oh, Mike Tyson's Punch Out was impossible to beat him on the Nintendo, but
You had to know the specific sequence.
Yeah, I was taught. I didn't learn it on my own. I was taught how to beat it.
Everybody remembers the first time they beat him.
I mean, sometimes, like, on a side note, it's almost a sign how I don't want to. I don't. Maybe we walk the line between people that simply don't like a fighter. People don't like to see a guy win. They don't like his character, because when Floyd was doing this, how many issues of Ring did you see? When how would he do against Tommy Hearns, Sugar Ray Robinson, Sugar Ray Leonard, Marvin Hagler?
Exactly what I was just going to ask.
And then you see, because Tyson is recent memory for most, it's half a lifetime ago, but you still remember
Absolutely.
it really, really well. It's the nostalgia factor that you want to work for you in your favor at least one more time.
And there's no one that vicious out there right now. If we had somebody maybe that we could sink our teeth into, but Mike was just different. You say you didn't know it was like in the last 90 seconds.
When it was over before it started.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And we just miss him. I mean, probably the highlight of my life with Mike Tyson was I went to a high school dance, and it was the night he fought Buster Douglas. And the girl that I went with, I stayed too long in the hotel bar after I was just supposed to go to the bathroom because I was watching the fight. And I came back, and she was the high school football player was throwing a Mac on her. So I was like, fuck this. And I left. I was a freshman, and I ended up hooking up with her sister, who was a junior.
Yes.
We won't tell you.
We watched the Tyson fight when Buster Douglas beat him, and the bartender wanted to throw us out. But I was like, look, Mike Tyson's getting his ass kicked. And he's like, y'all just shut up and don't say anything. Fine. Wow. So in the morning, I'm singing in the shower. And my mother's like, how'd it go? I'm singing Red House by Jimi Hendrix. I'm like, I know her sister will. And so it was fun. Anyway, sorry.
Wow. Speaking of knockouts, so you were bringing up the second fight here, Gervonta Davis and Leo Santa Cruz. Mm-hmm. 2 knockout artists here as well, correct?
No. So
no.
Most of their fights are knockouts. What are you talking about? I told you I'm the layman's guy. I did look it up, and I thought I had a point here.
No. So partially correct. Gervonta Davis, I would say is a knockout artist.
One is, the other is.
I was 50% right at least. You could give me.
Not known for it.
Leo Santa Cruz is what I call a high activity, high work rate guy. Not
Pitter patter.
I wouldn't call it pitter patter. He's not a big puncher. But he's a high work rate guy. That if a guy like Gervonta Davis, who I believe is who's an exceptional talent, I question his focus. I mean, just based upon some of the stories surrounding him, but talent wise, you can't deny that he's I think one of the most talented guys out there. He's got kind of scary power for that weight division in that area. So I think Gervonta wins the fight. I think he's too big, too strong for Leo. Right. What do you say?
Me?
Yes.
First of all, I didn't hear what you said. What were you saying about Gervonta? You question is what, like his dedication or his?
Just his focus. I don't know that he gets told. I think he's a little bit. I question like the people around him a little bit.
He has off the field issues.
Potentially.
A lot of people will go back and question. Will look back at the biggest stage he has been on so far, or probably, to be fair, that he'll ever be on, when he was part of the undercard when Mayweather fought Conor McGregor.
Yes.
And he failed to make weight by a lot.
Yeah.
And he still ended up winning. I mean, do I think he's like Adrian Broner 2.0? No. Mm-hmm. But as you were saying, because Leo's moving up, and that fight actually is down in San Antonio. Easy car ride down. But 2 things. I don't want to be away from my kids on Halloween. Mm-hmm. And even though there may not be too much to it.
So it's actually on Halloween, and Halloween's what?
Yeah, because Halloween falls on a Saturday.
Oh, it is Saturday. Okay.
2020.
Yeah.
Fuck you, 2020.
Yeah.
Is Halloween canceled this year? I don't have kids, so I don't know.
I took my younger one when I took him around last year. I forgot where the house is where the people slammed the door on them and they said Halloween is evil. We don't do it. I want to go back and say fuck you to them. And, I like
to throw rocks at the windows.
I want to put on a Slayer shirt and go back and talk to him or something.
Yes.
But anyway, again, for me, the risk is too high to go down there, and I don't even know what they're doing media wise. They may want more press and may have more open arms, but it's not worth it. But
I agree with you on that.
It's interesting.
Time where you can go back.
Oh yes. The time will come. This too shall pass. Who the fuck knows when?
Yeah.
No one is immune from it. Even the guy in Washington who tried to say he was, but that's another.
That's a whole nother bag of worms right there.
Yeah.
Podcast.
So,
Town hall.
Right. Texas is red, but Austin is blue.
Yep.
And that's why a lot of people like it, because it's so flipped upside down. But anyway, Leo
Stay weird.
this is his, yes, keep Austin weird. This is his second fight at this weight.
Right.
And it's going to be interesting how this pans out when you have the winner of Loma versus Lopez, and then you have Tank Davis.
Yep.
How's that going to fix it? I think because I think between all of them, that's where the majority of the belts are. I think Devin Haney has the WBC.
Yeah.
And he's not. I think he's unbeaten. He's not always in the conversation though.
Right.
But
Right.
no, I think Tank's going to be too much for him.
Right. I agree. I just see Leo as just not. I see him.
His name is Tank Lopez.
I see him him working hard
Tank
and
Davis.
putting in a.
I'm rooting for him just on the name.
It won't be due to a lack of effort or a lack of activity. He's going to be there and he's going to try hard all night long. I just think that just at the end of the day, I just think that Tank is just too big, too strong. He didn't look good against our friend. Oh my goodness, his name is slipping me now. He tore his ACL in the fight recently.
Right.
Yuriorkis Gamboa. The fight with when Gervonta fought him, he didn't look great. He got caught with some shots. It didn't seem like he could get Yuriorkis out of there. So you wondered if he was a little bit unfocused. What did he not train to? So I just wonder but I don't think that he'll do that now. I think he'll come into this fight. It's a much bigger fight, higher profile. I think he knows that could be a springboard into those fights that you just mentioned with Loma potentially, with Teofimo potentially. There's big, big money to be made there. So I think he looks at this as a statement fight. And I think he wins the fight fairly convincingly.
Yeah, and I think he did get Gamboa out of there like in the 12th round.
Yeah.
And gosh, how long ago was it? It doesn't seem like it's that long ago when we were talking about El Ciclón de Guantánamo, Yuriorkis Gamboa being one of the pound for pound best in the world.
And I still say that talent wise, I think he's one of the guys that you put in the conversation for missed opportunities in terms of how high his talent level was based on what he actually accomplished. Right. He was he had everything that you wanted except the discipline. And that's pretty much how his career ended up.
And some of these discipline kills a lot of players.
So some of these because of the downtime, the idle hands. Yeah. A lot of these Cuban guys get here because he's pushing 40. Mm-hmm. A lot of these Cuban dudes get here.
I wish I was pushing 40.
I'm pushing back. But,
yeah, exactly.
Is he Cuban 40? Because Cuban 40. We still don't know how old those guys are pitching with a
Contreras
like the baseball guys.
Yeah, El Duque. They said he was 30, but he was probably like 53.
Well, he got the job done, right?
Yeah, it made him some money.
Okay. He until Terrence Crawford, I think it was, gave him a real good beatdown, and he fell down to earth.
I'm going to bring him into the next conversation because as we segue into the last fight that I wanted to discuss with you this evening before we let you go, and this is also down your way, at least in terms of the fighter that is the champion in this case. But we have coming up on December the 5th, we have Errol Spence Jr. against a comebacking kind of Danny Garcia. I think Danny's a live dog in this fight. We don't know how Errol's going to look coming off of the car accident, right? The last time we saw him, he dominated Mikey Garcia, which I think we both had talked about that, and the fight went exactly how we expected it to go in that case. Right. Errol was going to be too big, too strong. He was. This is kind of, to me, kind of a toss-up a little bit. I do favor Errol to win. I think he'll be a little too much at the end of the day. But I think Danny's in the fight till the end. What say you?
But before you even start, I'm going to say that Getz is already going to be rooting for Danny Garcia. He's from North Philadelphia.
Okay.
Yes, it's my guy.
Very good call.
The floor is yours, sir.
Temple is in North Philly.
Oh yeah, go ahead. There was a great. You remember Marc Macon? He was a hell of a baller, man.
I was at school with him. He was an asshole.
Oh, okay. A lot of them are. A lot of those athletes are.
He was a dick.
He was. All right. You want me to go first?
Yeah, go ahead. Yep.
Sure.
Okay. I was thinking about this earlier. First off, I was at the last fight when Mikey Garcia went up against EJ.
Uh-huh.
And I like to make a habit of getting there early when the doors open to get comfortable. You know how many fights were on that card?
You sent me pictures from those weigh-ins that you were at.
17 fights.
Damn.
Holy shit.
And I mean, my brains are so poached just by the time I guess the pay-per-view or when that started.
That was a long night. I remember that night.
Did you know all the fighters, or were there guys fighting where you were like, who the hell's this dude?
There were a few that I was not familiar with. There were some that I at least knew the names. Yeah. And you start with a lot of those 4-rounders, and you got some of those swing bouts where the poor guy has to like stay in the back and stay warm for 4.5 hours.
Seriously?
Waiting to see if he's going to come out. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That happens sometimes with TV rules, with the way that TV money goes. And I've seen it happen. The workers come out, they want to like tear down the ring. They're like, we got one more fight. And they're like, fuck out of here. Like, no, we really do. And the guy comes out and he's already like red because he's had to stay warm the whole time because he didn't know if he was going to be able to fight or not.
That's brutal.
It is. But this is interesting. If you look, first off, I agree that Errol's probably going to be too much for him, but look at the body of work.
Sure.
Look back at Danny Garcia. First off, the 2 fights that he's lost, they were ultra competitive.
Sure.
That fight that he had with Thurman was great.
Yeah.
And then his against Showtime, Sean Porter was a great effort. Mm-hmm. But go back and look at some of the guys that he has beaten and that he has thrown down with. You remember what he did to Amir Khan?
Yeah, and
Amir Khan.
I'll stop you. I'll stop you there because I'll tell you where I was when that happened. I had not too recently moved into my house at the time. I didn't like Amir Khan already.
Nobody does.
I had seen him get blown away by Breedis Prescott. I laughed at that. I was happy about that, so I wanted to see it happen again. And then Danny, I didn't know much about. And then I'm on the phone with somebody, and the first couple rounds of that fight were rough for Danny. Right. Amir was giving it to him early. But then Danny stepped in with that left hook that, spinned Amir all around. I was like, dude, I'm screaming at my mom on the phone, like yelling at the top of my lungs, like, he's out. I'm going crazy. So yes, I remember that vividly. Please continue.
And so, and the guys that he has fought, I know it's a faded Eric Morales that he fought twice.
Yeah.
But
first fight was tough for him too.
Yeah. And, but getting back to it, about once a year, I always love to watch when Amir Khan fought Marcos Maidana. You remember he hit him in the liver. Maidana rolled around and he got up. Man, anybody that has a tattoo of a Colt Python going into their waist, they don't fuck around. I mean,
the guy would smoke cigarettes in the ring after the fight.
I bet he.
I love Maidana. You're thinking Mayorga.
He might be thinking of Ricardo Mayorga, who was crazy in his own right. That triumvirate of Ricardo Mayorga, Winky Wright, and Vernon Forrest. How like one couldn't consistently beat the other.
Yep.
Rest in peace, Vernon Forrest. Getting back to it, I think that. Ask yourself this, actually. What is Errol Spence's defining moment? What has been his finest hour?
I'll tell you what I think it is, and then you tell me if you agree. I think it was when he went over to the UK and he took out Kell Brook. I think that's his best moment to me because he was losing that fight early. The crowd, I think, got to him a little bit early. Kell came out very strong early. And then I was very, very impressed with the way that Errol took over that fight down the stretch, where he just said, okay, like you knew by the 6th, 7th, 8th round that he was going to win, and probably in pretty impressive fashion. And he ended up doing that. I think that's his best moment, right?
Okay. Yes, I would have to agree. When you're in hostile territory like that,
Yeah.
and you see that sometimes when you sometimes smell an upset brewing when you're going into the 10th or 11th round. I don't know about you, but I had Sergey Kovalev doing really, really good against Canelo Alvarez.
I did too. Yep.
But when you fight somebody like him, you have to beat the fighter, you have to beat the sponsors, you have to beat the city, you have to beat the system, and it just goes on and on and on and on.
Like Rocky IV.
Those, did they ever? Speaking of that fight, I never looked into it, but I usually look to see what the cards look like after the fact, even if there was a knockout. Did they ever show, like, did Kovalev, was he in that fight on the cards or no? Because usually nobody's in the fight on the cards with Canelo. So was Kovalev any different?
Not on the zone, most definitely.
I think he was.
Okay.
I'll have to go back and look. I don't know if it's sometimes the cards don't mirror the competitive nature of it that we're seeing.
I mean, he threw a million jabs in that fight. I'll give him that.
Yeah.
I mean, geez,
Yeah.
he threw a million freaking jabs.
And then,
like you said, though, to your point, and back to your point, I'll let you continue, but you're saying you've got to be on that level of heightened alert at all times against a guy like Canelo who has that game-changing power with one shot. The fight is over.
And all the backing of the promoter, the referee.
Oh, and all of that is a fallback. All of that
and
is
probably the most boxing crazed nation on the planet.
Exactly.
The Russian mafia.
I mean, you're talking about a white Mexican with red hair.
Yeah.
And for the longest time, not to get off topic, but he was, because you mentioned El Duque. Didn't El Duque? I'm not a baseball fan. Didn't he play for the Yankees?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So you ask most people, Yankees, you either love them or you hate them.
Yeah.
And for the longest time, Canelo was like
here,
that,
man.
because Canelo was seen in Mexico as more of a novelty and a reality TV star, and more image over talent. But the guy just broke 30, and he's amazing. But Errol Spence, first off, is so lucky to be alive.
Oh yeah, sure.
It sounds silly, but you put yourself under a super horsepower Ferrari like he did, and you're pissed drunk, and you get thrown from it. It's almost better that he was drunk, because he was probably. It's kind of like when people survive a tornado because they get knocked out before it happened.
It's always better to be drunk.
So yeah, as long as you don't hurt anybody else.
Idiot.
When people get hit by something in the house in a tornado and they're knocked out when they're flung, and they wake up and they're alive, it's kind of the same thing.
Right.
I mean,
do we against your own body?
He has to. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Are we up against a break here?
No, we're good. We're just gonna roll through.
All right. First of all, I want to thank you, Mark, for being on the show. It's good to have a boxing expert here. I got a question for you, and you gave me a nice segue. I'm more of an MMA guy, but I consider myself like an above average boxing fan. Like, for instance, I know who Kell Brook is. So in your expert opinion, you brought it up before. You've probably written articles about it. Everybody considers Mayweather the best pound-for-pound fighter right now. I mean, I know he's retired, but if he was to be still fighting, he'd be the best pound-for-pound. A lot of people say he might be the best ever. I disagree. I have my own opinions. If you did, travel through time and put him back there with Hearns and Sugar Ray and the Hitman, Hagler, how would he do?
You mean when we would not be in the same type of era of cherry picking? And
exactly, and he picks his opponents. It bothers me that he won't fight Canelo again now, but he fought Canelo when he was like 18 years old.
If I could set him up with anybody, I would love to see him at lightweight again and fight Roberto Duran. And
would he get pounded?
Yes.
Nice, my guy.
At 130 for sure.
Yes.
Duran was unstoppable.
Well, because again, a lot of the talk was how would Sugar Ray Robinson, Archie Moore, how would these guys fare against him? And you don't know. I mean, you don't have any idea. But
like, in my opinion, like he picks his opponents. So in an era like that, where you have Hagler and Hearns and Sugar Ray Leonard, all those guys, Duran, he basically would have to fight all those guys. So
Right.
how would he do?
You don't. There's no escaping the four kings. And in his time, and Yasan, you can probably chime in too.
Yeah.
But the two guys that I really would have loved to see Floyd fight would have been Antonio Margarito and Paul Williams.
Yeah, I actually. So it's interesting you say that because I was actually upset when Shane Mosley upset Antonio Margarito. Remember when that fight happened? Shane Mosley was considered by that time to be cashing out. He was. I think he was coming off the loss to Cotto.
Yeah.
He was a bit.
He was
older.
like De La Hoya's sparring partner at that point.
Margarito had just destroyed Cotto. We didn't realize with loaded
But he
gloves
had
at the time.
Yeah, he had the packed gloves, right?
Right.
Yeah.
But we didn't know that. So everybody's thinking, man, Margarito's this killer. And he was always this giant welterweight anyway. And you're thinking, okay, if he beat Shane, he's going to fight Floyd. Floyd wouldn't have been able to not fight him at that time. But then Shane ends up upsetting Margarito, and then Shane fights Floyd. Paul Williams ended up, going the route with Sergio Martinez.
Oh.
In those
you seen fights. A knockout? You see many knockouts like that lately?
One of the best. That's still on my list. That's way up on my list.
Second one.
Hell yeah!
As good as Sam Peter. It's my favorite. my personal favorite knockout.
Samuel Peter.
Sam Peter. Wow, I didn't expect to hear that name tonight.
We're talking big guys now.
Neither did he.
Exactly.
But to let you finish, Mark. Actually, to let you finish, I know we got off track a little bit. Just to let you finish, you were saying that Errol was lucky to be alive, and then you were going into what you think would happen in the fight. So what do you think happens?
Get out of here.
Yeah, I think that he's just going to be able to control him. Mm-hmm. He's great. He's excellent at cutting off the ring, and in many ways, so is Swift Garcia.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm interested to see this because you see the pictures of Errol Spence, what he looked like in the hospital.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Being thrown. I didn't think he was going to live to speak again, let alone fight.
What did he have? Did he have like a brain injury or anything?
No, actually, he lost some teeth. I think he did some damage to his jaw, but nothing significant to his neck or his head. He had bruising. I don't know with the way that he hit that that Esplanade. Maybe he landed on his shoulder, on his back, on his butt. I don't know.
Yeah, he landed in a lucky spot. But
he's lucky. And I've tried to talk to him even before this, but and I respect this. He's a real closed off and quiet guy.
Right.
And you have to go through a lot of this and that to get to him.
Yeah.
And the closest I got, one of the things I detest is if you're going to let me interview your fighter as the publicist, but you're going to listen into it.
Mm-hmm.
I hate that.
Okay.
You can trust me. I'm not going to have, and so, but a call with him was going to be like that. And I'm sorry, I was thinking back to like the text earlier. Did you want to talk at all in any length about the heavyweight landerscape?
I would love to get your opinion.
If you got
I would love to hear your opinion.
I definitely was going to touch on it, especially when I saw that there was a rematch signed recently with the Povetkin and Dillian White. Which did you see that knockout? By the way, that shocked the heck out of me. I'll be honest. What did you think about that one?
No, I mean I kind of had the same as well, because you didn't see that coming.
Yeah,
and it's not what you thought would happen.
At all.
Now, when you look at the big three as they are, I think Anthony Joshua is going to fight Kubrat Pulev in December, and then they're going back and forth between a third fight between Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder
with a much lighter suit to walk into the fight with.
Yeah, that's why he lost, right? And,
yeah. Like maybe try the thing on before you walk out.
Yeah. No, that's insane, and that's another thing. We're lucky to still have Tyson Fury after he beat Klitschko, and he just went on this incredible Scarface-like bender,
Yeah,
just on
unbelievable.
coke.
What'd he do?
Made Ricky Hatton look like Mother Teresa, man.
Well, he blew up to. I think he went up to almost 400 pounds.
Yeah.
He
is 6'9" though.
I alluded to Tony Montana. I wouldn't have been surprised if he had that snow mountain in his house with the way that he got hooked on the drug.
Oh, unbelievable! Man.
Well, he admits that he has some like mental issues, right?
Right. And he was seen for
which isn't a bad thing for a fighter.
Well, I mean, you get a little bit crazy to do it, but I always tell people, if you have never had that internal struggle, if you don't know what it's like, then save your comments.
Yeah,
because if you don't know what it's like to have a broken brain, as it is, or however you like to coin it, it's not something to be taken lightly, and we're still learning more and more about it as we go. But,
well, a lot of that, when they get into the drugs, they're actually trying to like self-medicate.
Right. I mean, sometimes that is a cure or just a solution,
a temporary fix.
Right. To all of a sudden everybody loves you.
Now, speaking of Fury, is he he's the class of the division? Do you think that, because I'll be honest with you, that Anthony Joshua, the rematch where he against Andy Ruiz, I was not impressed, to be honest with you. I mean, he did what he did to win the fight. He did all right, but I thought he fought scared. I thought he fought off his back foot. Tyson Fury, to me, seems to be the guy that, at the end of the day, he wants to put on a show, even if he loses. Like, remember when he fought this?
He does sing after the fight.
Was it the Schwartz guy that he fought, or he got cut badly in the fight on ESPN, and he looked like the fight could be stopped, but he just took it, and he took the fight to me into it. Okay, I've got to fight a different kind of way. I've got to adapt. I've got to change, and I've got to do it this way in order to win. I think he's the only heavyweight right now that can do that in the middle of a fight.
Yo, man, he's a British gypsy.
Yeah, he's a pike.
Like, for real. Yeah,
he's like those dudes from Snatch.
If you've ever seen the movie Snatch,
lived in a caravan. Yeah,
he's a British gypsy for real. He doesn't care.
Yeah.
He thinks his soul is gone a long time ago, so he doesn't care if you knock him out.
He's like a redneck. I don't know how you would, but
you're behind enemy lines with the redneck comment.
Well, I'm in Texas, man. Come on.
Nah, he's in
what
Austin.
I mean.
Austin's blue.
Oh, yes. Okay. No, I think, well, first off, I did not watch the rematch on a personal level. I will not pay any mind to a draconian state like Saudi Arabia.
Let it fly. Let it fly.
I refuse to watch it.
Okay.
A place where human rights are non-existent, where they behead you for playing a Ouija board or tarot cards.
Close to it, right?
And women. What did Pac say? We all got our name from a woman, a game from a woman.
Yeah.
And over there, how many
bars on CrackBacks?
How many women does it take to equal the testimony of one man there? No, it's insane. So
very primitive mindset over there.
So anyway, I know what happened. I refused to watch it. I did watch the weigh-in because the heavyweight really is the only division where the dude can get on the scale and I can say I look better than you do. I don't want to trade punches with
you. If Ruiz is fighting.
But what I had heard, one of the things when I was doing that quarantine thing with dudes, this was recently after Andy Ruiz had joined up with Canelo's camp. Chepo's going to help him, and Eddie's supposed to help him. And I asked each and every one of them, do you think this is going to help him, or do you think the tiger doesn't change the stripes? Most of them, I assume, took the high road, just seeing the lighter side, saying, I think he can do well. I think they're going to help him. And then I did have one say, no, Tiger doesn't change his stripes. He's lazy. I've trained with him before. And even a lot of the training videos that you saw in preparation of the build-up to the rematch were taped. They were from previous even years.
Oh, wow.
You're saying Joshua's lazy?
No. Andy Ruiz.
Oh, okay. I would
got-
never
look at him and
suspect
tell
that.
it got even more lazier and more lazy, and just I remember seeing him on Joe Rogan after he beat AJ.
Mm-hmm.
What did he do? He went out and bought a Rolls Royce.
Yeah.
I mean, fine, but you're gonna have all the trappings and the hangers on,
Sure.
and he just partied and partied and partied. Like you said, discipline is the downtime, and that's what brings a lot of fighters down. Oscar De La Hoya himself.
You know who else was very, very similar to what you just described was Kelly Pavlik. Same thing.
Oh,
yeah.
my man.
The big drinker,
Big
party
partier,
guy.
big drinker.
Oscar De La Hoya admits that he
Ohio.
probably shaved 3 or 4 years off his life
Oh yeah,
because he partied so much.
sure.
Here for a good time, not a long time.
You can't burn the candle at both ends, man. And it's you can have your exceptions to the rule, like Bernard Hopkins, because he goes to bed at 7:30 and he wakes up
7:30 at night. Yeah, 3
something
o'clock
like
in the
that.
morning.
But he
Another
was also
Philly
given
product.
a second chance. Yes, he was given a second chance.
Sure, absolutely.
Sometimes when these things fall, I take nothing away from what it takes to get there.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, the one guy, and this was the one person who was a world champion, said, "No, he's not disciplined enough. You can't make somebody change, and it's naive to think you can."
Mm-hmm.
But I would love to see the Battle of Britain. Just
Yeah,
see,
man.
Tyson Fury fight Anthony Joshua. That would be cool. And I mean,
That would be cool.
Who's better?
Tyson Fury's style is so cool to watch, just that herky jerky, and and he doesn't look like he frequents the gym all that much. But some guys are just like that. They're morphology.
They're just
Not
big
everybody-
body guys. Yeah.
He likes to
Yeah.
freak. He likes to
Joe
frequent the
Calzaghe
pub.
Was that kind of guy too.
Yeah.
Like Joe Calzaghe looked like your
Yeah.
UPS delivery guy,
Right. And you remember Baby Bull Diaz, lightweight champion, fought Marquez a couple of times. He could never get the ripped and cut thing just because it's not everybody can do it.
No, man.
Correct.
Genetics is half of that.
Yeah.
And and if it means starving yourself, then no, don't do it.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So who do I think would win? I think Tyson Fury would beat him. I don't think he would knock him out. I think he would 9 rounds to 3.
Because me, like I said, I'm an average boxing fan. Anthony Joshua looks the part. He looks like an animal.
Oh, he looks like it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the fight he fought against Vladimir Klitschko. He got dropped and he came back and won the fight.
Yeah.
Fury always looks sloppy to me, and not sloppy body wise, sloppy and like he looks like he's stumbling around the ring. Maybe that's part of his style, but he never looks like he's really picking. He's never really picking somebody apart.
And he
whereas Joshua was like a real technical striker.
Well, Joshua was an Olympian.
Mm-hmm.
Tyson Fury's style is so unorthodox, and
It's hard to train for.
Right. When whatever gets you from point A to B.
Mm-hmm.
I understand what you mean, but if you also recall that when Anthony Joshua did get past Klitschko, it was really just a case of whichever guy stood up perfectly straight, the less.
Yeah.
Because that
Great fight.
That is how they fight, and that is how he fight. When you're that tall, and you're that rangy, and Tyson Fury is able to negate that for some reason. Yeah, he's a weird cat.
I actually think that Vladimir Klitschko and Anthony Joshua fight, I actually think that that's both of those guys' best fight. Like I know Vladimir was in some fights where he was in some knockdown dragouts. He lost a lot of those fights. He got knocked out in a lot of those fights.
But wasn't it an issue with Vladimir? Wasn't it more an issue of like conditioning? Like he was getting tired at the end of the fights, right?
Some of the fights, yeah.
Some of it. What was that one dude that beat him like 2 or 3 times? What was the guy's name that beat him? Like Brewer or something like that?
No, he lost to Layman Brewster. He was knocked out by him. He was knocked out by Corey Sanders.
By Corey Sanders. Yeah, because Vitaly came back and beat the crap out of Corey Sanders.
Out of Corey Sanders in a revenge fight.
You hit my brother, I break your face.
No, Vlad had like was up there with the longest reigns in heavyweight history, and like the most title defenses.
He was an automatic unanimous decision for a long time.
Right. And look how the crowds he was able
Dr. Steelhammer.
Yeah.
Oh, the big.
I think
he can fight in Germany. He can fight in Russia and make money.
He is Dr. Iron Fist.
Yeah.
Which is I mean, both of those brothers have PhDs in sports science, so they understand that it's a job and it's a way of life.
Very smart guy. I respect both those guys immensely.
But I think because what was his MO for so many years? Jab, 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 right. And no one could really get the better of him.
Yep. Right down the middle and crush you.
Still remember when he crushed Calvin Brock with that 1-2 down the middle? That you remember that knockout? Where you were worried about Calvin Brock. Was he alive?
Well, it's one of those knockouts where they fall backwards and their knees go the wrong way.
Exactly. And then he married Hayden Panettiere, so he didn't do all that bad. I mean, I think he did all right.
He married a miniature-sized woman. But we got one more battle, Mark. I want to bring up to you here, and get your opinion on this one. It's two old fighters who have been battling for a long time, and this Sunday, Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers are going at it again. Who you got? How bad's it gonna be?
They are 1-1 against each other, because the first time they played in Foxborough, Aaron Rodgers didn't play. He had a concussion, and Matt Flynn played.
And
the Patriots
a lot of money.
Patriots came to Lambeau, and Gostkowski missed a field goal, and they sacked Brady towards the end, so the Packers won. And then year before last, when Packers had that dumpster fire year, they were holding them close, and there was just a couple of broken plays. That is the game of the week, man. So everybody can watch that.
Agreed.
And Packers are coming off of a bye week, and Buccaneers have shown.
It's okay. It's all right.
Have shown holes and lapses.
Indeed.
But he's got a great core around him. I don't know if Mike Evans is going to play, but he's got
Devontae Adams back. He's going to play.
And he's gonna play.
Is he really? Is that a lock? He's definitely playing?
Yeah, they say he is.
They sat him last week. He's good. He hasn't had any setbacks this week.
That's big for my fantasy team.
That's why. And then because Alan Lazard's not coming back. I mean, he had core surgery, and you don't come back from that anytime soon. But he's had other receivers emerge. You always have a chance when you've got Aaron Rodgers. Yeah. And you give him enough time to do something. I think it'll be a good close battle. It might come down to whoever makes the first mistake or whoever makes the last one.
I'm completely disagreeing with you. Green Bay.
Go ahead, you can say it.
Green Bay is going to beat the
Packers are going to blow them out.
Well, Green Bay's going to beat the snot out of Tampa. I know you can't say that because you don't want to jinx. You don't want to jinx yourself.
No, that's.
But we're talking about old fighters. Just to bring something back that we were talking about earlier in the show here. He's talking about that Mike Tyson may look good on film, but if he steps in the ring, Tom Brady's arm isn't there anymore. He's not as broken as Drew Brees is, that he can throw it a little further. Than
Jesus Christ, the Heat and Drew Brees.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I hate the Saints too, but he can't get the ball down the field the way he used to, and that nullifies a lot of Mike Evans and Chris Godwin's good work that they do. Rodgers has no such problem. If Devontae Adams and Tanyan and Martin and Scantling are healthy, it's going to be a long day for Tom.
Get out of here, you fucker.
And to be honest with you, a lot of people I hear on the radio that Aaron Rodgers is ability-wise the best, or he's among the best. I've never looked at him that way. I've always just looked at him as that's the quarterback for my team, and we're lucky.
Luxury to have.
Keep it simple.
You went from Favre to Rodgers.
Aaron of his class, I'll say this: he's the only one right now that isn't looking his age. Actually, I think all these guys are starting to look their age a bit. I mean, actually, I'm looking at Phillip Rivers and I'm thinking, okay, is he done? Like, because you see, like, I don't.
Yes, he's done.
Yeah,
he's done.
Is he done?
The answer is yes.
So
When
know
they're
Big
talking
Ben is
about
still
playing
playing
Jacoby
well,
Brissett,
but-
Phillip Rivers is done.
Done.
Well, that's the thing. I think I don't know if it's all Phillip or it's the way that they run that offense. They all they do to me is run checkdowns all day long. I mean, I don't see them throwing the ball deep. You thought he would throw it to T.Y. Hilton. They're not doing
He can't throw the ball deep.
His arm is dying too.
Why?
There's
He's gotta have-
He was
no,
doing
man,
it last year.
Father
He was
time,
doing it last year.
Father time is undefeated, and just like a boxer can get old
You
overnight,
never thought Phillip's arm was bad though.
but a football player, an athlete in general, can get old overnight, and the body the mind is willing, but the body can't do what the mind wants it to do.
To that point, Aaron Rodgers has as his cannon still. And he can
Oh
still
yeah.
I got to dip out here real quick.
He puts it on a cable to wherever it's going. But
Yeah.
Phillip Rivers has to have some steam left, dude. He's got like 11 kids.
Yeah.
So he's a good Catholic boy.
You're saying that he has some steam. I'm saying the 11 kids mean he doesn't have any steam left.
All right. I guess.
Well,
But we're getting up on about an hour and 15
No, this is
minutes here.
it's Isan. This is like the conversation we had in Vegas 5 years ago. We just would
Yeah.
trail off to this and this and this.
No, but this is
And
absolutely perfect. Man. It's absolutely
After
perfect.
the exterior fell down, and you saw that I'm a lunatic, and we just start laughing at everything. And so,
Absolutely.
and you know what's funny about that is I don't know if you drink now, but you weren't drinking back then, man. You were sober that day. Like when I met you,
no,
you were
I still don't.
okay, because you told me, you said, nah, I used to come out here and drink. I don't do that anymore. Meanwhile, me and Heather were hammered talking to you. Like, yeah, we're out here having
I
fun.
know. Not so much you, but I know that it was my wife and and my sister-in-law, I believe, and we went over to the sushi place in Mandalay Bay.
Yeah.
And your ex-wife, came in and started talking to us louder than you speak to someone who is 3 feet away.
Sounds about right.
But no matter what anybody does, as far as the drinking goes, I can't judge you, because how it used to go for me when I would go for a fight weekend in Vegas, I get there Wednesday, take care of the stuff, or sometimes Thursday. I might go use the hotel gym. I would drink and party until the sun came up. I would wake up at 4 o'clock, shower, go to the weigh-in, do it again. And I would sometimes not leave till Monday, so I could party on Saturday night and I didn't have to get on a plane feeling like crap
Right.
on Sunday.
Pro tip.
But it's been one of the best things I ever did, and it's wiping the mud off the windshield.
Sure.
It was good for me.
Sure, absolutely. No, I hear that, man.
Well, I think that's a natural stopping point right there. Mark, I'm going to ask if this is not the only time that you visit us. This is a great time here. We'd actually
Please come back.
Yeah, I like to pop in with you from time to time here, and I'm holding you to it. We're going to the Salt Lake Barbecue at some point here. As soon as the Rona's gone, we're flying into Austin.
Oh man, yeah. There's other cool places I can take you to. We hear some good music. Just walk up and down, see why they say keep Austin weird. That's why any of the strange weekends in Vegas, the strangest stuff I see. I live in Austin, man. None of that shocks me.
I love it, man. I love Austin.
Yeah. So, best to you guys. Thank you so much for having me.
Well,
I was going to joke that if you refer to me as a boxing expert, let me know when that guy comes on the show. I just, it just goes. I'm like, over the years, son, you reached out to me like, how you do stuff, how do you do this, how do you do that, and really, it's all it takes is that you believe in yourself, and that you know what you want to say, how you want to say it, the subject material, and you write the way you think, not necessarily the way you speak.
Well, on that note, and this was my plan before COVID and all this stuff happened, I knew you'd be covering a lot of fights in Texas and things like that. If things were normal, I know that's what would be happening. I would have been at a lot of those fights with you, just so you know. That was my plan.
Great.
Is I'm going to fly down. I'm going to go. I was going to Dallas. I've been to Dallas a couple of times recently. So I was going to go. I said, I'm going to go see some fights with Mark, because that's been one of my goals, is to sit ringside with you, see how you do it, see how you do your thing, and kind of watch.
I'm not asking, but I'm coming.
I'm still learning how to write, and I'm telling you now, I'm gonna copy you and watch what you do and how you work, and kind of learn from you when I do go to those fights. Because there'll be a time where we'll do that. once we're back to normal. So I'll definitely
Right.
be making some trips to Texas.
And then after
Right,
that,
I
we
mean,
go to
when-
barbecue.
When it started out for me, I kind of just had to take notes with what I saw, and
Yeah.
then just kind of go from there. But as you do it more, you're able to just type as you go. And I tell people, type as you go. That's the body of your article, because that's not going to change.
Right.
And then when you're done, you can do your intro and your ending.
There you
And
go.
and it's as easy as that. You have to make sure that you keep your eyes on it, because you do a lot of your fast typing between the rounds,
Right.
and you don't always look up to see the replay. You hear everybody go, oh, you hear the
Yeah.
oohs and the ahs. You want to make sure that you keep an eye on it, and just write what you see. And,
So let me ask you this.
Mhm.
Since you're not technically affiliated with anyone right now and you're still freelancing, can we list you as CrackBacks boxing correspondent?
Yeah, of course. If you'll have me, yeah,
Yes,
Absolutely.
of course.
You're hired.
Absolutely, man. No, we'll definitely try some
Thank you.
traffic to the
Hitting
channel. 'cause,
you back up there, and we'll be checking in on you for your Packers as well.
Yeah, y'all. Isan has my phone number, so it's okay to give my number to these dudes. Text me during the game, after the game. I hope.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I hope they can get through them and get to 5-0. The thing that
You'll
sucks,
be,
man,
You'll be relaxed.
is that
midway through the third.
the following week. I've been in Austin about 20 years, but I grew up in Houston. Next week, the game next week, they're supposed to go play the Texans, and I wanted to go to that game so bad.
Oh yeah.
Take my kids and meet up with my dad. My dad has never left. And a shout out to my dad, who's going to be 80 next month, and he's run over 200 marathons.
Holy
Awesome.
shit! Yeah, good job, Dad.
And he still does.
I've run 0.
I don't even like driving 26 miles once I was running.
So how did you become a Packers fan then?
I just always have been. Probably when I was about 4 or 5 years old. I don't know. I just latched onto them, and my parents say they're not sure how. And it was tough growing up, because if you grew up in the 80s, the Packers were just horrific.
Yeah, they were terrible.
And you're surrounded by these little middle school fucks who only like whoever won the last Super Bowl.
So you didn't like Don Mikowski?
The
I love
Man.
Magic
But the
Man.
Magic Man didn't get around till that was the late
Magic
80s.
Man.
90s,
Magic
right?
Man's big
89,
season
90.
was in '89.
Yeah, it was late 80s.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean he was there in '88, but he came in after when I first started watching them, because on my ninth birthday, September 4th, 1983, and my uncle took me to the Astrodome to see the Packers play the Oilers.
Ooh.
And it was Lynn Dickey, I believe, versus Dan Pastorini.
Holy shit.
And
Pulling some names out of the
and
vault.
the Packers won.
Yeah.
But growing up, it was Lynn Dickey, Randy Wright, Blair Keel, Mike Tomczak,
Mike Tomczak.
and
Of
then
Pittsburgh fame as well.
yeah, and then the
Bears.
and then Magic comes in, and I went to the game at the end of the '89 season when the Cowboys were 1-15, Aikman's rookie year.
Yeah.
And the Packers beat him in Texas Stadium, and they needed help from the Bengals or somebody to win so they could eke into the playoffs. And then he first tore his rotator cuff, then he came back, and then the following year he turned his ankle, and they took him out, and a dude from Southern Mississippi came in.
Yes.
And it was, and that's that.
Yeah, we gave him
So-
to you, so you're welcome.
Yeah.
I'm a
He's a Falcons fan.
Falcons
The
fan.
Bag
The
of
Falcons.
chips.
Yeah, the Black Wave.
Nice.
That's going way back, man. Jerry Glanville was there.
Hell yeah.
So Mark, man, we really appreciate. You don't understand how much I appreciate. I know we've been trying to set this up for a while.
Absolutely.
I've been like, I know we exchanged texts a million times and we got off track a bunch of times, but I felt like this was perfect timing leading into this weekend with this mega fight that I'm actually going to have people here. Gets, as a matter of fact, you're more than welcome to come Saturday to watch the fight. We're going to have a few guys here, little gathering. We'll
Are you going to have the cauliflower bites?
potentially, but
For you, I'm assuming, right?
I just want the waffle fries.
yeah,
Oh,
man.
yeah.
Good chat, guys.
Absolutely.
Definitely good chat.
This was a lot of fun.
Are all of you in Miami?
Yeah.
I wish.
You're in Philly?
We're close to Miami. We're in Broward, closer to Fort Lauderdale, but yeah.
In Broward. And where are you?
Fort Lauderdale.
We're all. Yeah,
you're
all
Fort
the same
Lauderdale.
thing.
Same general area. Yeah.
Same thing. Everything around here is considered Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah, I need to come down to Miami again because I just realized that Al Capone's old house is there. And I gotta go look at it.
Come on
It still
down,
has
man.
syphilis.
I'll get a tour guide, man. Come whenever you're ready.
Well, I gotta get
come
down
on
there
down.
before Miami goes boom and sinks into the Atlantic.
It's getting
There you go.
close.
Yeah,
Let's
and
get
please,
Climate change reference.
not to bring politics in, but you know that Democrat hasn't won Texas since Jimmy Carter, since 1976.
Wow.
And
Jimmy actually won that. Wow.
He was a Southern
I would
boy.
have missed that question.
That's how bad
He was a
Gerald
Southern
Ford
boy.
was.
He was from Georgia.
He's from Georgia.
That one.
And smooth talker. But you get all those types of barbs thrown at you that how Florida fucks everyone over because the state's shaped like a dick.
Yeah, for sure.
Good point.
And there's the cartoon of when Bugs Bunny saws Florida off.
Oh, yeah.
Like, South America, take it away.
Yeah.
No, Florida's, I love it, man. My wife's grandma lives in Sarasota. And so
Nice.
that's only about 2 hours, less than 2 hours from where y'all are at.
Yeah,
Yep.
thereabouts.
Next time I come down there, it will be a road trip, and I'll come meet you, whichever comes first.
Sure.
If you want to come to the Republic of Texas first, that's fine.
Hey, man, I love Texas, man. I was about to move there.
No,
So
definitely Texas is on the list.
I'll be out there as soon as free travel and all that stuff starts
Absolutely.
again. And
World opens up again.
regular fights and stuff.
As soon as the plague is gone.
Quite a bit.
Exactly.
Man. I'll be there. Quite a bit.
Yeah. I mean, I could walk you down all downtown, and you can see all these dudes walking around the Capitol with AR-15s on their back.
There we go.
Just crazy.
You're on recording, so this is a binding agreement.
No, I often joke that when they did those special edition quarters for all 50 states, that on the back of the Texas one, it should have been the death gurney, because that would have been fitting.
Wow.
I'm sorry.
We could have a whole nother podcast.
Absolutely. No, Mark,
Okay.
we're definitely going to have you back on if you would like to come back anytime. And even if it's not boxing, I mean, you obviously know your football. If you want to talk about something else, something's on your mind, just let us know. We'll be more than happy to have you on. I
am just not a baseball guy. Nothing against it. I just didn't grow up playing it, and I never followed it. So yeah, anytime if you'll have me, this has been so great. This is the best type of icebreaker when you can just shoot the breeze.
Appreciate it, man.
Talk
Absolutely,
about whatever.
dude.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Yeah,
Thank
so
you. Take care of
we
yourself.
most certainly be having this again.
Thank you.
Good night,
Yeah,
guys.
you guys take care.
All right, fellas,
All right,
CrackBacks.
Peace.
Stay in touch.
That was successful.